Hello and welcome to VPOD.ai. I'm Mike, and I'm so glad you're joining us today.
It's great to be here.
We have a really timely conversation lined up, one that is literally affecting millions of bank accounts as we speak. And joining me to make sense of it all is Susan. Welcome back.
Thanks for having me, especially given, the time of year.
Exactly. It's February 2026. And before we dive in, a quick message for everyone listening. You can sponsor this podcast for just $25. Your message will be featured across major platforms like Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Spotify, and more. If you're interested, visit VPOD.ai to get started today.
Nice and easy.
That's how we like it. Okay, so let's set the scene. It is mid-February.
Mm-hmm.
You've spent your weekend gathering W-2s, maybe hunting down some 1099s, stressing over a box of receipts. You finally hit submit.
The feeling of relief.
Right. You're banking on that refund, maybe to pay off a holiday credit card bill. And then you turn on the news and hear two words: government shutdown.
Oh, it's just the worst timing. The absolute worst.
It really is. And the panic sets in immediately. Did I just send my financial info into a black hole? Is anyone even at the IRS?
Yeah. Is the mail even getting opened?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So today, we're looking at that intersection of tax season and political gridlock. We're going to be drawing on some great reporting from Ethan Wright and insights from financial planner Tristan Hasty-Grant to figure out what actually happens to your money when Washington turns the lights out.
And the answer is more nuanced than you'd think. It's not just open or close. It's really about, automation versus human beings.
Right. Usually we hear shutdown and we think national parks closing, passport delays, but the IRS is a totally different animal. So what's the big headline here? If a shutdown hits tomorrow, do our tax refunds just stop?
So the short answer is no.
Okay.
Refunds don't completely stop, at least not for everybody. But to get why, you have to stop thinking of the IRS as just a building full of people.
And start thinking of it as what?
Think of it as two separate things: the machine and the workforce.
Okay, the machine, I'm guessing you mean their big computer system.
Exactly. The IRS runs on this massive old-school computing system. And when Congress doesn't pass a budget, well, the computer doesn't lose power. It's considered essential.
So it just keeps running.
It keeps running. So if you're like the, 90-something% of people who file electronically, you're not really handing your return to a person anyway. You're just feeding data to a server.
So I hit send. The data goes to their servers.
Yeah.
And what happens? It just processes everything on its own.
If, and this is a really big if, your return is what we'd call clean.
Clean meaning no mistakes.
No mistakes. The data you sent matches the data the IRS already has from your employer, your bank. The system validates it, crunches the numbers, and sends a direct deposit instruction to the Treasury. No human hands ever touch it.
Ah, so that's why they can still promise that 21-day timeline even during a shutdown.
Exactly. The robots don't need a budget from Congress to keep working.
So for most people with a simple return, you got a W-2, you take the standard deduction, you use direct deposit, the shutdown is basically invisible.
For them, yes. You'll probably see your money right in that 3-week window.
But you said if the return is clean? That sounds like there's a pretty big catch.
And that's where the workforce comes in. Or the lack of one. A shutdown creates a massive bottleneck. The computers are running, sure, but a huge chunk of the human staff gets furloughed.
Sent home.
Sent home. They legally cannot work. So what happens when that computer finds a problem?
It spits it out for a person to look at.
Think of it like a high-speed conveyor belt. Your return is a little box. As long as it looks standard, it flies right through to the refund-approved chute.
Okay.
But if the computer scans that box and sees something it doesn't like, a mismatch, a math error, a missing form, it kicks the box off the belt.
Into the manual review pile.
Right. And on a normal day, there's a room full of people grabbing boxes from that pile and fixing them. During a shutdown, that room is almost empty.
So the pile just gets bigger and bigger and bigger.
Exponentially. And that's where you get those horror stories, people waiting 6-9 months for a refund. It's not that the system is broken. It's that the part that handles exceptions requires humans, and the humans aren't there.
Okay, so the name of the game this year, more than ever, is stay on the conveyor belt.
100%. Accuracy is so much more important than speed right now.
So let's talk about how.
Mm-hmm.
How do we make sure we stay on that belt? What are the specific things that kick a return into that pile of doom?
Tristan Hasty-Grant lays out the most common ones. And the biggest, honestly, is just a simple data entry error. A typo in a social security number.
It seems so small.
It is small. To a person, it is. A human would look and say, oh, they just swapped 2 digits. But the computer just sees invalid ID. Reject. and that rejection needs a human to overwrite it. Boom! You're in the pile.
What about income? I feel like that trips a lot of people up.
That's a huge one. It's called matching. The IRS computer already has your W-2s, your 1099s. So if you type in that your salary was $50,000, but the W-2 they have on file says $50,500, the machine flags it. It stops everything.
So if you're a freelancer and you forget about that one little $600, $699 from a gig last February,
You've just guaranteed yourself a delay. And in a shutdown year, who knows how long that delay will be?
there's another group here that's really important, though. And it's not even about making a mistake. It's about claiming certain credits. I was reading about this credit trap. Can we break that down? Because this affects millions of families.
This is so crucial. We're talking about the EITC, the Earned Income Tax Credit, and the ACTC, the Additional Child Tax Credit.
These are the credits designed to help working families with lower incomes.
Exactly. And because they're refundable, meaning you can get back more than you ever paid. And
It's almost like a benefit payment through the tax system.
right. And because of that, they've historically been targets for fraud. So Congress passed something called the PATH Act a while back.
The PATH Act, what does that do to the process?
It legally mandates that the IRS they are forbidden from releasing any refund claiming these credits before the middle of February. It forces a pause.
So even in a perfect year with a fully funded government, these families are already waiting.
They're already waiting until, say, February 15th at the earliest. But here's the shutdown problem. That pause often involves an extra layer of human scrutiny just to release the funds.
Oh, I see.
So if the final check requires a human to sign off and that human is at home,
They're stuck. They're doubly at risk.
yeah,
They have a built-in delay from the law, and then the shutdown adds another indefinite delay on top of it.
it's a really tough position because these are often the exact households that need that money the most. They're counting on it for rent in March.
It just shows you how fragile the whole thing is. It's not just that the government is closed, it's that the very specific part you depend on is jammed.
It's a structural vulnerability, absolutely.
So, okay, I've filed. I'm sitting here now. I'm worried. How do I know if I'm stuck? Do I just have to, refresh my bank account app every 5 minutes?
Please don't do that. That will just drive you crazy.
Yeah.
Your banking app is the last step. You need to see what's happening before that. You need the IRS Where's My Refund tool.
That's on their website and on the app, right? The IRS To Go app.
It is, but a lot of people make a mistake here. They try to use it like it's Google. That won't work. You need 3 very specific pieces of information.
Okay, your social security number, obviously.
Your SSN, your filing status, so single, married, filing jointly, etc. And here's the one that gets people on it. The exact refund amount in whole dollars.
The exact amount. I can't just put in about 2,000.
Nope. If your refund is supposed to be $2,043 and you type in $2,000, it'll say information does not match and lock you out. It's a security feature.
Good to know. And how often does this thing update? Is it real time?
No, it's a batch system. The master file updates overnight, so the tool itself only updates once every 24 hours, usually very early in the morning. Checking it more than once a day is pointless.
Okay, so managing expectations. The standard is 21 days. If I hit day 22 and it still just says processing, is it time to panic?
Worried is probably too strong. Alert is a better word.
Okay.
If you get to 4 or 5 weeks, a full month, and there has been 0 change in the status, that's when the alarm bell should probably start ringing.
And in a normal year, the advice would be call the IRS.
Right. But in a shutdown, good luck with that.
The call centers are staffed by people
who are furloughed. So you'll get a recording or you'll be on hold for hours, which just brings us back to the first point. Prevention is the only real cure here. If you have to make a phone call, you've kind of already lost.
I do want to clarify one thing for our listeners in certain states. We've got a note here about Oklahoma. Does a federal shutdown freeze state refunds too?
No, there's a firewall there.
Okay.
State tax agencies, like the Oklahoma Tax Commission, are funded by the state. So a shutdown in D.C. has no impact on them. Their lights stay on.
So you might get your state refund on time, even if the federal one is stuck.
You might. In Oklahoma, use their OCTAP portal. It's a totally separate system operating on a totally separate timeline.
Well, that's a small comfort, I guess.
It helps.
I want to pivot a little bit. We've been talking about the mechanics of this,
Yeah.
the robots, the bottlenecks, but there's a whole psychological side to tax season. Tristan Hasty Grant calls it the grand finale of your financial year.
Yeah, the moment of truth.
It really feels like that. You get to the bottom line, and it's one of 2 things. You get a check, or you write a check. And I'll be honest, I hate writing that check. It feels like I failed.
That's the emotional reaction everyone has. It feels like a penalty. But if you put on a financial planner hat for a minute, you have to challenge that feeling.
How so?
Well, what does it actually mean if you owe the IRS $1,000 in April? It means for the past year, that $1,000 was sitting in your bank account, not theirs.
Okay, I see where you go with this.
You had that money. You could have been earning interest on it in a savings account. You basically got a free loan from the government for a year.
So from a purely mathematical standpoint, owing a little bit is actually the smart move.
It's the efficient move. Now, flip that. Let's talk about the big refund. The average is usually around $3,000.
Right.
If you get a $3,000 refund, it means you overpaid by $250 every single month.
Wow, that's a car payment. That's a big chunk of the grocery bill.
It is. You gave the U.S. Treasury an interest-free loan. And with inflation, the money you get back is worth less than when you earned it. So yeah, mathematically, a huge refund is a bad deal.
But we're not robots. We're not spreadsheets.
No, we are humans with biases.
And I know so many people who count on that refund. It's not about the interest. It's because if they had that extra $250 a month, it would just disappear. It would get absorbed.
The forced savings argument. And it's completely valid. For a lot of families, that tax refund is the single largest lump sum of cash they see all year. It's the only way they save for a down payment or a new refrigerator.
So for them, paying that small fee of lost interest is worth it to guarantee they actually save the money.
For them, it is. Behavioral finance teaches us that the best financial plan is the one you'll actually stick to. So there's no single right answer, but you should be aware of what you're doing.
Be intentional about it. If you're using the IRS as a savings account, just admit it and do it on purpose.
Exactly. Know thyself.
Let's talk about real trouble. Beyond just a delay, what are the red flags that something is seriously wrong?
The biggest one is silence, followed by a letter. If your status hasn't moved for a month and then you get a physical envelope from the IRS, your heart rate tends to go up.
And the first instinct is to just not open it. Put it in a drawer.
The ostrich strategy. It is the most expensive strategy there is.
Why? What's in the letter?
99% of the time, it's something boring. We need a copy of this form. Please verify your identity online. If you just do what it says, the problem goes away.
But if you ignore it?
If you ignore it, they don't give up. They'll eventually fix your return for you, usually not in your favor, and then they'll send you a bill.
And that bill comes with penalties and interest.
Yes. And IRS interest rates are no joke, and they compound. Unresolved tax issues just get bigger and more expensive the longer you let them sit.
So rule number one, no matter what, open your mail.
Open the mail.
Okay, let's look ahead. We're stuck in this mess for 2026. How do we future-proof for 2027? What can I do as soon as this is all over to make next year less stressful?
First thing is to do a review. As soon as this return is done, look at the final number. Did you get a giant $5,000 refund? Did you owe $4,000? If the number was a surprise, you need to adjust your W-4.
That's the form you give to your employer.
Yes. Most people fill it out on their first day and then never think about it again. But your life changes. You get married, have a kid ages out of a credit. The IRS has a great tax withholding estimator on their website. Use it, print the result, and give it to HR. It takes 10 minutes.
Okay, so recalibrate your withholding. What's step 2?
The mailbox rule. This sounds so simple, but it causes so many problems. Starting in January, all these tax forms start arriving. They often look like junk mail.
Oh yeah, those perforated ones that look like a credit card offer.
Exactly. People toss them. Then they file without that document, and boom, a mismatch. Get a folder. A physical one, a digital one, I don't care. Anytime a tax form comes in, it goes in the folder. Don't file until you have everything.
Filing early is a bad idea if you're filing an incomplete return.
Incomplete is the enemy. I would much rather you file 2 weeks later and be right than file on day one and be wrong.
What about people with more complex situations? Retirees, business owners?
For retirees, the big surprise is often RMD's required minimum distributions. The government basically forces you to take money out of your IRA or 401k so they can finally tax it.
And if you don't take it out?
The penalty is huge. It used to be 50% of what you should have taken. It's lower now, but still very painful, so you have to plan for that tax hit.
And for the freelancers and gig economy workers?
Estimated taxes, please. Pay estimated taxes. Don't wait until April to pay your entire tax bill for the previous year. You'll get hit with an underpayment penalty. Pay quarterly. It's better for your cash flow, and it keeps the IRS off your back.
And finally, the golden rule, which we cannot say enough times, especially in a shutdown year.
E-file with direct deposit. Do not mail a paper return. In a shutdown, paper returns literally get stored in trailers or stacked in hallways. They are the absolute last priority.
Trailers full of tax returns. That's a terrifying image.
It has happened. You do not want your refund to be in that trailer.
So, to wrap this all up then, the government might be shutting down some offices, but the IRS main computer is still humming along. If your return is simple, clean, and electronic, you're probably
safe. But if you have anything complex, if there are errors, or if you're claiming those specific refundable credits, you just have to be prepared to wait.
And that accuracy is way more important than speed.
Every single time. Check the Social Security numbers. Wait for that last 1099. Do whatever it takes to stay out of that manual review pile.
This whole conversation about the interest-free loan really sticks with me. We've spent so much time and energy worrying about our refund, tracking it, panicking about it.
It takes up a lot of mental space, for sure.
But it just raises this final thought. If the best way to navigate a government shutdown is to not be waiting for a check from the government in the first place, maybe the ultimate financial goal isn't to get a huge refund. Maybe the goal should be to get a refund of zero.
The perfect landing. You keep your money all year long, the government gets what it's owed, and when stuff like this happens in Washington, you're just an observer. It doesn't affect you.
A break-even tax return. Something to aim for in 2027. This was incredibly helpful. Thank you.
My pleasure.
And thank you all for listening. Here's hoping you stayed on the conveyor belt this year. We'll talk to you next time.